if you study the languages before the Bible, you find all the stories written all the way back to cuneiform, which is like one of the oldest. And it's almost as if the story keeps getting retold over and over again, but the languages change, and there's all kinds of misinterpretations, some that I think might have been intentional in order to use religion as a kind of control mechanism, and then create the religious industrial complex, which profits billions and billions and billions of dollars off people.
I mean, we did it to slaves,
Yep.
They only showed them portions of the Bible, you know.
Show them. I mean, geez, until the press was created, people didn't know how to read.
Yeah,
they only got their information from the fucking guy in the front of the fucking dude.
Because it was all in Latin, and most people couldn't read or even speak Latin.
Yeah, reading was the biggest thing. Is dude, you just kept them dumb. Yeah, so they could never get any of the other information. Today's the day. Got it, dude. Well, nice, man. Good to see you, bro. It's been a long ass time. Maybe like a year.
Has it been a year?
I think the last one was around the Halloween time.
Oh yeah, I think it was.
Oh yeah, because it was the debt box is the last time I remember seeing you, dude. Mm-hmm. Dude, what's been going on?
So just been trading cryptocurrencies and living off cryptocurrencies, and just studying a lot of ancient history stuff and learning about how to go off grid and get land and like build a self-sustaining kind of ecosystem. So just learning stuff like that,
Yeah, nice.
Preparing for a potential dollar collapse.
Yeah. Did you go through that whole course, all those modules that you sent us?
I haven't gone through all of them yet, but I just started it this week. So I've gone through the first 2 modules.
Really?
Yeah.
So I was talking to a friend yesterday about that course you sent over, and he reminded me of something you were talking about too, was getting like government loans for agricultural land and then potentially discharging it and stuff like that,
Okay.
So, because I think the name of the game is first finding a good piece of property, right?
Right. And with the zoning, or if possible, one that hasn't even been zoned yet at all. According to the course I was taking, so they're showing us how to go onto the government websites and look up all the zoning codes and all that stuff, which is kind of complicated. That's something I'm still going through the learning curve of figuring out. But they were talking about finding pieces of land that don't actually have any kind of zoning because the government just hasn't reached out that far yet. And ideally, they were talking about how these are the best ones because you can pretty much do anything.
You can zone it to whatever you decide because you have like the first.
Yeah, like
right,
there's very, very minimal restrictions on it.
Damn.
But is there anything close, let's say within a 90-minute, radius to here?
Yeah, that's where it gets a little more difficult because what they explained is, you're trying to find the pieces of land with the least restrictions possible, which means you got to go, the farther away from the big cities, the more likely you are to find that.
Right.
But you also want to try to stay within about 30 minutes from a relatively small city, something with maybe like 20,000 people. That way you still have access to grocery stores, hardware stores, things like that, so you can get equipment and food to sustain yourself. But then you also want to be within at least 2 hours of a big city, like, something with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, because then you can bring in basically tourists and Airbnb and turn it into a cash flow asset.
Did you ever see that show Wild Wild Country?
Uh-uh.
Oh man, it's really good. It's about a Indian guru. I can't remember his name. You might have heard of. He wrote a lot of books like in the 70s. But they made a commune out in Oregon, and it ended up going like rogue and shit like that. But have you looked into, because when you talk about like, hey, trying to find the perfect piece of land, like what came to my mind is just getting the alloidial title.
Yeah, I've heard about that stuff too, and putting everything in a land trust,
right?
And not having it in your name,
for sure.
Basically, is also something they touched on. In the course, they were saying, "Oh, do it with an LLC." I've heard mixed opinions about that.
Yeah,
I've heard some other people say, "Nope, stay away from the LLCs. Just put everything in trust."
Yeah, I would put in a special type of trust. Get the alloidial title. Get a land patent, so you patent the coordinates.
Yeah.
Another level too is if you have a family member that passes away, burying them in the backyard.
I've seen stuff on that was not as true.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, a lot of, especially California, like you just can't willy-nilly bury someone in the backyard. Like there's especially in a...
I saw that there were certain states, though, like I saw the gun laws go along with the burial right deal. Like, so there's like 9 states that, it doesn't work in, but the rest of them are, pretty...
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Who knows what's true or not, right? Until you go through it and experience it.
But I think we saw the same that lady in our car that's like, if you bury someone or whatever.
No, I didn't. I mean, I may have seen that lady, but I'm not talking about off of that. Like there was what's his name? I don't know. There's somebody I follow on TikTok the guy with the purple pen.
Remember the guy with the beard?
No, there was a guy that was talking about if you're sovereign, you should only sign with a purple pen because all the other ink colors mean something else. Yeah. That same guy that I sent you that video of, he was the one that was going in on the interesting. He was on a live and he was talking about like gun rights are, pretty close to the same as the burial rights one. And he said there's 9 states that you can't carry in, and there's 9 states you shouldn't try to bury a family member.
Interesting. But yeah, you find it big. If that works, I mean, it's just about what I'm finding more and more is like the more things you have. Yeah. So if you have the alloidial title, if it's, if you're burying dead people on it, if you got a land patent, if it's in a trust, like there's so many layers that they have to go through, and they're pretty lazy. The agents are.
Well, and they're looking for easy targets because there are so many of them out there.
Right.
I mean, gosh, I would say most of the construction companies that I know here in town don't pay taxes or don't pay all of their bills, I was talking to Caroline last week. They're going to stop carrying shingles because roofers don't pay their bills.
No way. Dang, man. That's interesting to know. Dang. That's wild, man. So how's the trading going for you?
So far, so good. I mean, I day trade a little here and there, but primarily I'm just preparing for my next big swing trades, which is, trading into the 4-year boom and bust cycles that we now have historical data on. So right now I'm in the more so the accumulation phase.
Right.
Same.
And then if you find like short-term day trade or short-term trades, you're getting into those.
Sometimes, like if I feel like it.
For sure.
If I was starting from scratch, I'd probably be day trading every day.
Really?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, as often as I could, because that's like, slowly building your portfolio bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right.
But then it is, more time spent sitting in front of the computer.
And you have to be right.
Yeah, which I figured out a strategy that someone I got into contact with taught me that is pretty consistent.
What percentage? Because you've been in it for a while now.
Yeah, so he for a while, for a few years, he was the number 1 trader in Coinbase, like winning more trades than anyone. And Coinbase actually contacted him because Coinbase and every exchange, they have data on all their traders, so they can just go into their database and use an AI and scan it and say who has won the most trades. Mm-hmm. And he had the highest percentage of trades that he had won. I think it was for about 3 years it was him. So they contacted him and he helped Coinbase create the professional trading portal that everyone uses today.
Okay.
So,
and that's the guy you sent me the video on a while back, the trading one.
Yeah, Justin Clark was his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of just see him as like a trading genius to have figured all this stuff out, because he's the guy that actually like sat there and just looked at the patterns in the charts hours on end to see what everything was doing, and then put it all into a duplicatable system, basically.
Right. And so when he's just giving you signals, you get the signal and you take action on it or not.
Yeah, so they developed a software that scans Binance US, regular Binance, and Coinbase Pro. So it's scanning the exchanges, because there's like hundreds and hundreds of trading pairs.
Right.
So to go in and try to like look through every trading pair manually clicking it's unrealistic. It would take so long. But their software scans all of it and just identifies anytime there's a dip or a squeeze. So all you have to do is just click through their software, and it's like, okay, this trading pair is dipping, this one's dipping today. And you just click through each one, and it'll pull up the exchange and the trading pair automatically just by one click. And then you can just see, okay, is this dipping in the pattern I want? If not, click off, go to the next one. Is this one dipping in the pattern I want? If yes, okay, I'm gonna execute this trade. Put in the buy, wait for it to dip in the way I want on the 5-minute candle. So because this way we're in and out of trades within like a couple hours, a few hours maybe.
Right.
Are we talking options?
Cryptos.
Yeah, I know, but option trading, like betting if it's going to go up or down.
You guys are using leverage.
Yeah.
No, it's more so just like putting in a trade where I'm only going for maybe like a 1% profit.
So, but
very quick.
At that you have to put in $1,000 because 1% of $100
yes.
is fucking ain't shit.
Yeah, so it's one of those things like you want to probably start with a small amount, like try to just turn $100 into $101.
Right.
If you can consistently do that,
right, like
winning over 90% of your trades just with small amounts of money, well, it's the same exact thing to do it with $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000.
Yeah, there's a lady that has a course out there called like the 2% some shit, where that's the same thing. Like every day they're looking for trades where they can just in and out. 2% is their target.
Yep.
So yeah, if you put in $1,000, but like you're saying, if you start even with 100 and you get really consistent, you create a system, you're journaling, you're doing all that shit, you become proficient in it, then you can go from betting 100 per trade to 1,000 to 10,000.
Yes. And then
right.
So I mean, there are people in their community that started with like small amounts, like $100 or $1,000, got really good at it, and like over the years, compounded it into like into six figures
for sure.
But you got to have a lot of patience and discipline to do that.
100%.
So
and
results are definitely going to vary depending on the individual efforts. Right, so quick disclaimer there: trading's high risk.
Nice, dude. Nice. What kind of weird ass other shit, man, you getting into? That's new. Because, dude, it's a fucking... I know. When's this shit show gonna fucking pop off, man?
Well, I mean, it's already... It seems like it's already popping off just in different places.
For sure.
And it's just kind of this ongoing shit show that's being dragged out for like years and years and years, where there's different events happening in different regions. And then, again, like, there's... At the same time, there's all this talk in the online community that eventually the whole house of cards has to crumble.
Right.
And that's what everyone's waiting for. I'm not sure when it's going to happen, or if it's going to be this like overnight thing, this overnight rug pull kind of thing. But I'm just trying to like study as much as I can and prepare for different scenarios that could possibly play out in our monetary systems, in the economy, in the political situation. That way, like, if there is some kind of collapse, whether it be an instantaneous one or a gradual one, I'm prepared.
Right.
I'm also liquid, so I can buy into assets that I think will potentially be let go of for really, really dirt cheap.
For sure.
As people continue to get really, really desperate and really, really impoverished by everything: the market manipulation, the inflation, the wars, the engineered collapses. I mean, like, there's already been, like, I've already lived through a couple of them.
Right.
The 2008 housing collapse.
Right.
And then they did it again in 2020 with the fake pandemic.
Right.
And every time they do this, it's just like this rinse and repeat strategy that these big central bankers and hedge funds use to accumulate and consolidate assets under their umbrella.
Right.
And it's all at the masses' expense.
Right.
Which is not right at all. But like, there's nothing we can do to stop this from happening. But we could potentially just do the same thing that the bankers do, which is wait for everything to crash. And as long as we're prepared with our assets and our money liquid, we could potentially buy land, buy all kinds of stuff. Oh, yeah. Cars, boats, houses, even distressed businesses.
Yeah. And at this point, they've left a blueprint.
Yeah.
Because they've been doing the same pump and dump scheme for
hundreds of years. Hundreds of years.
I recently saw something that opened my eyes. Is they're using our money to do it, our retirement money.
Yep.
So the 401ks and stuff, because if you look at everyone's invested in BlackRock and stuff like that, right? And if you look at the retirement, what was it, like 37 trillion or something like that, is like everyone's 401ks or everyone's Roths, all those combined is like 37 trillion. There's like 35 trillion in the stock market. So it's all of everybody's monthly income. Cause my mom puts in, $400 or $500 in her Roth and then puts whatever money in her 401k every month, and then the company matches it, and all that's the money that they're using to do this with,
Yeah, it's a giant fucking Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Like if people really knew, like they don't even. There's this entity out there. I think it's called the DSC, or there's some abbreviation for it, but they're the ones that actually own all the physical certificates on the stock market. Mm-hmm. So people think when they're putting money in their 401k, like they have like some piece of paper, and it's not true. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're trading derivatives on top of derivatives, like all this made up shit. Like the stock market itself is it's not even real.
And getting your own papers, because I've like saw online guys trying to do that. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah, like to hold the actual tickets.
I mean, I doubt they would even let you.
Yeah.
Because then what are you going to do when you got to sell it? What's the point of holding it?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is like I've seen guys like, that were crypto guys.
Getting like a piece of paper that says I own 1 share of Apple.
Exactly.
I think that's why they have that company that holds them.
Yeah. I'm just diving into, I've seen crypto guys like buy stocks just to try to like spend 3 months trying to get the actual ticket for it. And they're like, see, you can't ever actually own your stocks.
Right. Yeah. You don't. In fact, it's the same as a bank. When you put money into a 401k, like those aren't even your shares.
Yeah.
You just have a ledger. You just have a statement that states, hey, here's what you're in. You don't actually own those. Just like when they put money in a 401k, just like when you deposit money in the bank, as soon as you deposit that money, that's not your money anymore. It's a Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley's.
He was saying that's why he doesn't stake.
Oh,
yeah,
stake
that's
crypto?
true. Yeah, you're signing a smart contract that says those aren't your coins anymore.
Oh yeah, well yeah, a lot of the staking. Well, I mean staking. You know how like a lot of the centralized exchanges offer staking. That's what I absolutely stay away from. I do.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't.
No.
Right. Yeah.
I do. I am staking stuff where it's delegated.
Yeah, if you stake on Cardano or you stake on any ones like in Exodus, no, those are still yours. But yes, great point. If it's through an exchange, it's the same fucking thing.
You're basically just sending your money to another entity
Coinbase.
To custody it for you.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing is in most of these centralized exchanges that are offering staking, they're at high risk of getting hit with securities lawsuits. And in the terms and conditions of most of these exchanges, it says that if they go insolvent and file bankruptcy, you lose any cryptocurrencies that you held on their exchange.
Oh yeah.
So in my opinion, like it's not even worth it the risk is way too high to stake on a centralized exchange.
Did you guys see the release deal they're doing with FTX? That's other people's coins that they're releasing. $8.5 billion worth of crypto.
Oh yeah, that's not even theirs.
That's not even theirs. They're releasing other people's crypto to pay.
Yeah, because all fees were paid by other people's crypto. So yeah, that's not. I mean, but it is though.
Yeah.
When you sign a contract, you're paying those fees. So those fees that's not actually your money anymore.
Totally. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, fundamentally, it was a scam in the first place. So any profits they made should not be their profits.
$8.5 billion.
That's a fucking scam, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shouldn't be theirs. Oh my gosh. And I mean, mark my words, I bet that motherfucker gets off.
Oh, for sure.
It's all a circus, It's all fake.
Fugazi.
Yeah, it's all a fugazi.
Yeah.
And all the stupid stuff like, hey, can I get out because the internet's slow? Or the stuff that, what I'm learning more and more, because I had an experience this week where the federales came knocking on the door. Mm-hmm. And man, everything gets put to the test. And, what I learned is number one, having a script and staying on that script. So when they knock on the door and I answer the door and they go, hey, is Gary Gilgan here? I go, nope. Because they're not talking. They're only dealing with corpse, dead entities.
The straw man.
Right. So when they say, is Gary Gilgan here? They're not talking about me.
Yeah.
They're looking for an entity, an all caps corporation.
Commercial.
Right.
Yeah.
So they can only act in a public, professional, corporate manner. So when he's saying, is that there? Nope. Oh, okay. So does Gary Gilgan live here? Nope. You sure? Yep. Who are you? I don't answer questions. Mm-hmm. And then we just stood there and looked at each other, and I go, all right, well, have a nice day. And I just closed the door in his face. But what it taught me is the biggest thing that I've been theorizing and then put to the test is you never identify as the person.
Yeah.
As long as you never identify, then they have no jurisdiction ever.
Dude, this is so just watching celebrity shit that's going on, right? I like fights. Dylan Daniels is about to fight Logan Paul, and Logan Paul's girl is trying to sue Dylan Daniels. Well, they've been trying to get process servers to get him,
right?
And they can't get him because he just keeps saying, "Nope, I'm not him."
Right.
And then, so one of them tried to record him, and they couldn't hold that up in court, like him saying, "No, he's like, I've got you on video. I know it's you," and it won't hold up. They still can't use it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, until he admits,
right,
they can't get him.
So again, it goes back to what I was saying about having a script. So because they'll try to get you in weird places. Just like that movie Pineapple Express in the very beginning, where he puts on costumes and shit to get him. If ever someone comes up from behind you or even in front, an agent, because that's all they are. They're just agents of the Matrix. Yeah. And they say your name, you say no. So like even like me, like from this experience, even beforehand, is like I've practiced that script in my head so many times. Is when an agent says your name, you say no. Because that's not me. Yeah. And we live in a world, it's weird how all these things are, happening and coalescing at the same time, is that with like the whole, let's call it war on gender, where motherfuckers are identifying as dogs and cats, that gives us the power to say, hey, if they can identify as a dog, then that means I don't have to identify as the person. Right. Mm-hmm. It works both ways. So that's the ultimate.
Dude, I mean, even one of the craziest things is because I'm going through the credit cleanup thing, right? There was one that just keeps popping up for Verizon. I've never had a Verizon account, and I never answer when they call me. You know what I mean? And so I've been answering lately, and I've just been saying, I've never had that account. No, I'm not Ken. This is not him. And dude, that whole thing fell off my credit.
Nice.
Finally, for the first time, because I'm like, I never signed a contract with you guys. I'm not Ken. You know what I mean? Stop calling me. And dude, I haven't heard a peep from him, and it went off my credit.
Nice, man. Yeah, I mean, I think, and I don't know if you've experienced this too, but all that stuff, the stuff that we've been into, the trusts, the state national, like all this stuff it's blowing up.
Oh yeah, it's very trendy now.
Yeah, big time trendy.
I'm on my fifth TikTok account, and I've had so many videos where I start talking about that stuff go viral, and thousands of comments. Like everyone is really, really interested in this stuff. If you just go on TikTok and start talking about it, watch how much engagement you get. Like people really, really just want to learn. It's crazy how much engagement you get when you start talking about this stuff.
No way.
Yep.
Well, man,
that's good to know.
I've been spending probably an hour a day studying Black's Law Dictionary because it's crazy. Well, and then even, if you get into watching these videos, because obviously we all watch a lot of videos, but they talk about like asking them what dictionary and what definitions they're using. Yep. You know what I mean? Because like, gosh, I'm trying to think of one that I just read that had like 9 different a criminal case. If you look it up, it's just a lien, right? And there's like 7 different definitions for the word criminal case or a case, right? You go through that and there's like 7 different definitions of it. It could be a lien, it could be this, it could be that. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different things. So when somebody says you have a criminal case against you, hey, what dictionary are you using? What definition are you using?
And what version? What version of the Black's Law Dictionary? Because how many? Which version are they even on now? Like,
right?
Yeah.
Because they change. Sometimes they'll go and they'll change definitions in the next version.
Yeah.
Yes. Or add definition.
Oh yeah, or add to it. So it's all just a language trick.
Yes.
That they use to enslave people. Yeah. Spell casting. Word magic.
Yeah. 100%. That's their whole game. Relies on that and relies on the ignorance and fear of people. Because if you don't understand the words, and you're not confident of speaking in front of the magician, then because that's what they want you, all their symbolism, walking through the fucking fence, all the fucking black robe, it's all a fucking show,
and it's a judge, magistrate,
Right.
magician. That's
Man.
what it sounds like that.
Oh,
man.
but also if you are watching this and you're like, oh, whatever, look up court cases where guys go through this stuff. The judge gets fucking ran over. You know what I mean?
Not
I've seen-
always, dude.
Not always.
In fact, the majority of people, again, they don't know how to hold their square.
Right. I'm
Just
saying
walking
when
through that
somebody
fucking
does
fence.
know, somebody that
Right.
does know what they're doing, right? So yeah, you do have to, because there are ones that they advertise, right? Like, oh, sovereign citizen gets, because it's admitting that he's a citizen, like he's getting killed, right? But I have seen people that know what the hell they're doing, and they fucking, like, judges like give up and end the court case. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Like,
100%.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is, one, try not to even go there in the first place.
Right.
It's the same thing as like you said with Dylan Dennis is, hey, if they can't serve you, the game does. It's an offer.
Yeah.
It's an invitation to
Right.
go and play a game.
Yeah.
The game is played on a court.
Right.
And so, hey, just that's the first step. So again, with this whole experience is like, number one is service. So if they can't serve you, then there's no game, no jurisdiction. If they do serve you somehow, then you now have that offer. You've identified as the person. The next thing would be what you're saying is that on that first cover page piece of paper where it says defendant, plaintiff, here's all that other bullshit, is you start using the words. Hey, what words are you using here? Like when you're saying this name, what name do you mean? All these different types of things.
Yeah.
And then, then you're trying to stop them there, having the conditional acceptance. Like, hey, I'm not here. You never want controversy.
Right.
I'm not here to argue. I'm here to actually accept anything that you say, but I need you to answer some questions if you're making a claim. Where's the contract with my wedding signature? Like, where's all this stuff? And if you can prove this stuff, hey, I'll pay the taxes. I'll pay the bank loan or the mortgage. I'll pay any of that stuff. If you can just answer these questions, I'm more than happy to pay. But if you can't answer these questions, then I'm going to countersue you for fictitious use of language, fucking coercion, fraud at the high, bank fraud, like all this type of shit. And so with what we're seeing, and to your point, is that right now there's a lot of more losers than winners. But as more and more people are videoing their experience, as more and more people are creating, structured procedures for people to do, like even I just saw a girl on Dion's Instagram where she has a step-by-step system to give birth without putting your baby in the system.
Yeah.
Because it all starts with there. As soon as they take that baby's fingerprint or handprint or soul, you just got put in the fucking system. No matter what you want to fucking do, that's the first step. So if you can save the child from even that first step, dude, they're not in the matrix. Because the matrix is all made of paperwork and words. Yep. And so that's the very first step is she's like, hey, in this process, you'll find how to get your child the birth certificate, not birth certificate, but passport, all this other type of stuff,
Yeah.
So, no, it's badass, man. More people are learning it. And they are practicing it. And now in the world we live in, everyone documents it and shares it. Fuck, dude.
That's what a lot of the engagement when I made some TikTok videos about the revoking citizenship and stuff. And that's what a lot of the people wanted to know is like, well, how do I have my child born and not sign it? All this stuff. Like that's what most people just want to know is like they know that the system's all a hoax and a fraud. They're looking for the steps. How do I get out of it? How do I circumvent it?
Yeah, 100%. Because that is the first step. How do I protect my child from it?
Yeah. I mean, I can't even tell you how many emails I sent and responses I sent, the steps of like just how many people wanted to revoke their citizenship from like 1 3-minute video I made. I literally had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views, over 10,000 shares. Once I get my TikTok videos go viral and I get over 1 million views, that's usually when they terminate my whole account.
Interesting. And you're on your 5th now.
Yeah.
So, you've gone through the process. What other experiences have you had? You've been to Spain now, haven't you, on the new passport?
Yes.
So you've been out of the country, in and out.
Yep. Everything worked fine with the passports.
Yeah.
I did. When you go to the grocery store and they, anytime you buy alcohol or lighters, they want your ID. So when I give them my non-citizen passport, and when they try to scan it, like nothing shows up.
Oh, shut up.
So they're like, oh, well, you have to manually bypass this in the grocery stores. So like, because I know when you scan a driver's license, all the personal information shows up.
Yeah.
When the passport, they said none of my personal information shows up.
What?
I also, one time I tried to ask a cop, I was like, hey, could you scan my passport? But he said his computer software, his scanning technology wasn't up to date enough to scan passports. It could only do driver's licenses. So I went back to some of the other people in the community and I was like, I told them about what happened. And they were basically explaining to me that, yeah, like certain police departments, the ones that have bigger budgets typically have the more advanced up-to-date equipment that scans everything. So I'm trying to like, test it out different places and scan it and see what happens basically.
Yeah, of course. That's a great experiment, is finding a sheriff or an officer that will
let you scan it and then show you in his computer screen like what pulls up.
Because you have the actual title to your vehicle, right?
I did get my manufacturer certificate of origin.
Okay.
Yeah,
you keep that in or a copy at least.
I have one copy of it. I just got it not that long ago.
Okay.
It took the company a while to get it to me.
Oh wow.
Because so I think it was like 8 or 9 months for them to actually get it for me. I tried to get it myself. I called Toyota. I called their corporate office. I called the dealership. I called the customer support. I got transferred around to over a dozen people, from Toyota corporate to the dealership I got it from, everything. None of them knew what it was. None of them knew how to get it.
Whoa. So how'd you end up getting it?
I contacted a company called mcotitles.com and I just kicked them down $500 and took them over 8 months, but they got it to me.
What, in the end of the day, like, what's the benefit, do you think?
From what I understand is that the manufacturer certificate of origin is the superior title. It's the highest form of title. The certificate of title, which is what you get from the DMV when you register your automobile, it's not like the superior title. The state has the superior title. The state has all the manufacturer certificate of origin. So that's why they feel that they can go out with their revenue collection agents and pull you over and impound your car and write you tickets, is because the state owns the car once you register it.
But isn't your car still registered?
I stopped registering mine now. I haven't renewed it.
Oh, so if you get pulled over for expired registration, are you going to give them like a copy of the MCO or?
I've heard that sometimes, depending on the officer, it may or may not work. Like they might not even know what it is, because like police officers are dumb. They don't even know the law.
For sure.
They're just order followers. Like I've even heard stories of like people getting denied from being able to join the police department because they were too smart. And they're like, no, we only want people that are going to follow orders.
You ask too many questions, bro.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've heard stories of some people basically like telling the officer like, yeah, I don't register my automobile. I have the manufacturer certificate of origin. I'm not operating in commerce. I'm not even a U.S. citizen. And then they just let them go. Sometimes they might still get arrested. Like there's nothing to really stop a bunch of armed agents from breaking your window and yanking you out of your vehicle. But
right,
I got pulled over with my friend Justin, and I just handed them my driver's license because I don't have my passport yet, and I just said, hey man, I'm not performing any commercial acts or anything like that. And I mean, they even let me go.
What did he pull you over for?
Because my license plate it's not up to date.
So here's my point of view on that, and the reason why I asked you about the MCO and everything is like my vehicle is registered and titled under my trust. Mm-hmm. So for me is I just don't want the fucking flag. Yeah. I don't want to deal with the hassle in the first place.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't really care about a car. So superior title, like it doesn't really matter at the end of the day when it comes to a car. So for me, it's like, hey, my vehicle, it's registered in a trust. So if I get pulled over, first of all, it's just a work vehicle.
Yep, it's not yours.
What are you pulling me over for in the first place? After this whole experience, like I'm only traveling with my passport. I'll provide him with that. And then again, it's, hey, what crime did I commit?
Yep.
If it's a code, so speeding, or again, expired registration, I'm not trying to create controversy. So go write the ticket. I'm more than happy. I just want to be done with the interaction. If you're gonna write me a ticket, it's all about money to them.
Yeah.
So hey, if the registration's expired or there's something else, then yeah, no big deal. I'm not here to create controversy. Just write the ticket, and then I'll deal with that in a whole different manner. I'll just send that fucking ticket right back.
Yeah.
I ain't signing anything when they say sign here.
Yeah,
I ain't
just don't
signing
sign it.
shit.
Dude, I had a speeding ticket that went to collection, and old fucking what's his face got it off already because I didn't pay it, and I just refused to. I just kept sending back a letter saying that it wasn't mine or whatever, and so then it went to collection.
I wonder if it's still in your driving record though. Something to think about.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, once it sends a collection, still they get you two ways on something like that. So and then that, and here's another thing that I've done is, so if it's on your driving record, that's going to affect your insurance. But my vehicles have commercial insurance on them, so the insurance is held in the trust too. So everything says Galactic. So if my truck's registration says Galactic Trust, but then the insurance is Gary Gilgan, then there's weakness in the chainmail, it's called, in the armor. So I just have commercial insurance. So it's like, hey man, this is just a work car. This ain't even my car. It's not my car. I don't own it. Look, this trust owns it. I'm just driving, so I don't really know what's going on here. Oh, and a big thing, again, going back to scripts, I'm never driving.
Yeah, traveling.
Yeah, I'm not driving. I'm not driving. I'm not a driver. I'm traveling. Where are you going? None of your business. I don't answer questions. What crime did I commit? What crime did I commit? Big part of the script is what crime did I commit? If you ain't commit no crime, then hey, what are you fucking doing here? Give me the ticket and let me go, or leave me the fuck alone. If they ever say step out of the vehicle, no way, get your fucking supervisor down here now, or I'm gonna call 911 because I don't even know you're a cop. You could be some lunatic with a gun. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's pretty interesting because one, I know I shared it with you. I don't know if I shared it with you. That video of that black guy and his wife in the back with the baby. Dude, that guy fucking was a G. All he said, he just gave him the passport, didn't answer any questions, and just kept going back to, I don't have an address. Where do you live? I live in the United States of America Republic. Dude, this guy just fucking crushed it. I mean, you're in the car. You're inconvenienced at that point. That's why. So my homeboy Kevin had the special license plate, the fucking with the peace flag, all that shit. Got pulled over, got a fucking ticket, got pulled over again. They impounded the car because, dude, it's a target.
Yeah,
and you're gonna get fucked with. So I'd much rather just fucking
fly under the radar.
Yeah, I'm just gonna fly under the radar. I'm not gonna have a driver's license. But I'm gonna fucking, dude, the first thing, a cop pulls behind you.
The plate.
Yeah.
If there's no plate, it's a target.
Exactly. Or if you have expired registration, or you have a fucking tail light out or something like that. It's like, hey, I never speed. Ever, ever, ever. 'Cause I'm not in a hurry to get anywhere. And I'm making sure my shit fucking works. And then to me, again, that target is the license plate. And so to me, it's always, I'm not trying to get in a fight. I'm trying to avoid controversy. But if it fucking happens, like someone trying to serve papers, it's knowing how to deal with that situation,
Yeah.
Never arguing. I'm never like some of these people in these videos.
Right.
They're trying to educate the fucking officer like you're going to fucking enlighten him somehow to be like, oh my God, I never knew that. Oh yeah, just go. Yeah, go. In fact, I'm going to quit. After listening to you, I'm gonna quit being a police officer.
Well, and dude, that was just it. Is the cop was super cool. He just like looked at me funny and then went back to his car. I'm guessing probably ran, saw that I don't have a record or anything, came back, and was like, "Have a great day."
But as soon as you get that driver's license, you are identifying with the person.
Right.
Now you're in their game. So that's first step one. That's why, like now, I always have my passport. I give them that passport. So I'm going to start a game with them, but the game is I don't identify as a person.
I haven't got my passport yet, so.
Just my old passport.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just giving them a federal identification. Go pull my name so you can make sure I'm not a murderer.
Yeah.
You pulled me over for speeding. I didn't commit a crime and I didn't hit anyone. So speeding is a code. Write me the fucking ticket for the speeding. Let me be on my way. But once you give them the passport, then it's like, oh, where's your ID? I don't have a driver's license. Why don't you have a driver's license? Because I'm not a driver. I'm traveling right now.
Dude, most people snitch on themselves. Because the cops always, do you know why I'm pulling you over? Because I was speeding.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? And then their next question is, you know what I mean? People incriminate themselves with cops.
Right, but if you're playing the game we're talking about here, like, fuck, if you don't know how to fucking not do that, you should definitely not be playing this game.
Just so everyone knows, you're always driving the speed limit. Because if you tell them, I don't know, then you're incriminating yourself right now for them to say, do you know why I'm pulling you over? I don't know. Is the worst thing to say because then they can hit you with anything.
Yeah, and I would say if you were a speeding, I'd say, no, I wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't agree. No, I don't agree to that. That's another thing that guy said in the video when he brought him the ticket and said, nah, I don't agree to these terms.
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking contract they're trying to get you in. So he's like, nah, dude, I don't agree to these terms. Then the officer was like, all right, well, just throws him in the car. It's like, well, you get him no matter what. It's like, dude. Improper service, whatever. But no, it's wild stuff, man. It's wild stuff. And then like back to like the macro thing, I just saw an article today that BlackRock and some of these other big firms are moving away from the ESG shit, the equality, the trans, the fucking gay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the credit score. So they're moving away from that and going more towards the climate change narrative. Because what I'm seeing that I've just was inspired by was their tricks aren't working. So I personally, man, I don't think they're going to be able to implement like the CBDC. I don't think they're going to be able to implement the plan that they're forecasting.
I think there's too much resistance now.
Yes.
And you have states like Texas that already passed bills to like basically welcome gold-backed digital cryptocurrencies, things like that. There's a lot of pushbacks, mainly from the Republican states.
Right. And wait until other countries start pushing back too.
BRICS nations are already.
Bingo. But I think the BRICS nations probably have a lot of the same type of control, desire as like the UN and the WEF and shit like that.
Yeah, well, who controls the BRICS nations?
Shit, China. Yeah. China, Russia. So yeah, they're all about fucking control to the highest degree.
But also, though, and I've said this a million times, I don't think there's going to be one currency that's above all.
No.
Because no country is going to agree that somebody else is number one.
Right.
Yep. So each one of them are going to have their own CBDC on a ledger. We don't know which one that is yet, but my guess is the XRP ledger, just because we already have some of those countries coming out with CBDCs on the XRP ledger, like Russia, India, yada, yada. So,
yeah. I mean, first mover advantage.
Yep.
And there's no fucking crypto that even comes close to the adoption.
Right.
That fucking XRP, XLM, XDC, like it's not even fucking. The fact that people still think that like Bitcoin will be like widely used in commerce and business.
It's too slow.
Way too slow.
Doesn't it? Yeah, the transactions per second. What is it, like 7 transactions per second?
Yeah, it could never work.
No way. And it takes hours sometimes to confirm and actually get the Bitcoin in the next wallet, which is not scalable.
Right.
Well, and on our last Friday show, I showed that video, even though people couldn't hear it, of when they first were letting Burger King use credit cards instead of just cash or debit cards. And everyone was like freaking out about using credit cards at Burger King.
Yeah.
Well, I just saw Burger King will accept Bitcoin to purchase a Whopper. You can use Bitcoin to buy Burger King.
Nice,
so
man.
Interesting thing,
Yeah, I mean, it's all about adoption. It's happening slowly, but as the fiats continue to lose purchasing power, more people will wake up. I mean, they're waking up faster. In fact, like you said, the resistance is growing way too
Yeah.
strong. People are waking up and they're questioning the fucking Matrix.
Well, and what I keep trying to tell our friend Steve is I don't give a shit about individual people adopting it anymore, right? The biggest thing now is we're just waiting for like a JP Morgan or a fucking BlackRock
One
or a
big
bank.
domino to drop.
One big domino, and then everything else will follow.
Right.
Yep.
And
There'll be a fucking rush. Like you couldn't even.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It seems like that's building up to a point to where it's going to happen with all the Bitcoin ETFs that all the hedge funds are applying for, and just the massive amount of press releases of big banks and financial institutions working with XDC and the XRP ledger.
Yeah.
And even like you look at some of the reports that have been released, like the Bank of International Settlements released a report recently titled "The Future of Our Monetary Systems," and it's describing all this cryptocurrency blockchain stuff.
Yeah.
So we see it kind of building up to
man.
this
I've
point.
read so many forms and 140 paged eight font deals where they've been fucking working on that for years.
Yep.
That talk about cryptocurrencies. They have fees that are cryptocurrencies. They, you know what I mean? They use word like ledger and
Right.
you know what I mean? So
on-demand liquidity. And
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Just like crypto terms.
Yeah.
And man, hours spent reading those fucking things, just getting pumped, So
Yeah. It
just
blows me away that like other people. Maybe they're not supposed to wake up.
I think that's kind of a thing is, I mean, it's just my theory, but like being able to attract and manifest a lot more wealth, would you agree that it could potentially be tied to like your spiritual evolution?
100%.
And it's like, if you're not ready for this, the universe isn't going to allow you to.
Yeah.
dude, we talk about that all the time. Like last time it went down, I told him like, I feel like it went down because I wasn't ready yet, you know?
Right. Like, yeah, if we're being real degenerates,
Yeah.
we're not ready. But also to that point is, what if like, to your point, what if there were like levels of awareness or levels of spiritual growth? And so like in this rendition that we're playing, we've woken up to a certain level that got us to a level of awareness in the game, and all those other people are true just NPCs.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, who knows to say like that every time you reincarnate, like your soul frequency is interacting with the DNA in the body you incarnate, and that's placing you at a certain level right when you go into the next incarnation.
I actually think that. So every time you play, because we're playing the game infinitely, our soul it incarnates, and so where you left off, whatever level of spiritual growth or development that you reached in your last life, you are imprinted with that in your spiritual DNA. And so, man, I watched this debate last night that was pretty damn good. This Muslim guy and then that numerology guy. And man, so something I've thought about for a long time is that the child, the baby, even in the womb, it is going through all of its previous evolutionary phases. Single-celled organism.
I've seen it.
When you were...
Yeah, he went. He had a tail.
Yep, a
and
dinosaur.
it looked like a lizard,
fucking-
and then the next one, he looked like a monkey. He even makes monkey noises right now.
Right.
Ooh, ah, ah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it, dude. I saw it with my own eyes.
So imagine this too. In the fucking womb, they're not breathing oxygen. They have liquid in their fucking lungs. So like what he was talking about is in Islam, it talks about is that's it. In the womb is a completely separate life. And then when you're born and come into this one, you die from that life. Like you're breathing oxygen. You can't put liquid in your lungs in this reality. You fucking die.
Well, isn't it the Buddhists that believe like the first 3 years of your life, you're forgetting your past life?
I've never heard that, but man, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, some religion believes that like the first 3 years of your life, you're forgetting your past life. So
what
like,
would be the point of forgetting it if you already came? The point is to almost remember.
right? But what I'm saying is like, so, and I can't remember who it is, but there's like a day amount that you spend in hell or heaven, and then you start the game over again, and then the first 3 years of life, you're, contemplating that last life, you forget and then you start the game over again.
Well, the first part, I've never heard of that, the forgetting, but in like the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which is very, in relationship to a psychedelic trip, they talk about these things called the bardos.
Yeah.
And even in, Tibetan Buddhism, when someone dies, you usually have someone that comes and sits with traditional that walks you through those first phases of death. Because your spirit's like thinking, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dead. And then if you have that guide, they can walk you through so you incarnate in a better place.
Have you read the Egyptian Book of the Dead? Dude, it's crazy because it is fucking spot on the Bible. Like, it's crazy. Like the dates, the time he died, like the Allfather or whatever they want to call him. I can't remember his name. He has a son that's born to a virgin.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, you know how many religions have had the same fucking storyline as Christianity?
Yeah.
Fucking so many. It's not even funny. It's all... Dude, it's all... So to that point, because like we've been sharing those things about like the astronomy and the Bible and stuff like that.
And all of the shit that the Bible is called. I mean, the fucking Euphrates River drying up, all the shit that's going on right now. It's crazy, dude.
Well, I mean, what kind of throws me off is because I'm not a Christian. Yeah. I look at it as it's a symbolic book. There's, again, talking about different levels of awareness. Like, you can look at it as a very literal sense, like, hey, this is history, matter-of-factly, and that's how most people see the Bible. It really happened. These people were real. This is history. But then there's another level where you see it as symbology. And only those that have grown their awareness to a certain level could even be open to the idea that Adam and Eve, that whole story, it wasn't, to me at least, it's not history. It's talking about symbology. It's talking about the Kundalini energy. The snake going up the tree is really the Kundalini energy that we're focused on. That's why we come here. It's to evolve, and that symbolizes that.
But what if, like the yugas, right? We talk about those all the time. That it's just the Christian version of all these things that have happened in the past. Like, because everything, like the Indians, their story for their gods is pretty fucking close to the same too, right? So, but it's much older. And the same thing with, what was the very first religion that we have? I can't remember what it was. But it's basically the same story, but it's, instead of 6,000 years ago, it was 10 or 12,000 years ago. What if like these people keep going through these same experiences, what call it Christianity, call it Buddhist, whatever, right? They just come up with different names for it. But they're having the same fucking visions that there's going to be, a Christ child born. And now here we go. We got the virgin, all that stuff's happening. We have another coming of Christ. What if it's happened multiple times?
Listen, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Because when you tell me that, I think you're right. You're looking at it as these literal figures. I see it as they're teaching these principles through stories. I look at the Bible as parables, analogies, and ways to, if you can see beyond, because only those who are worthy of seeing can get the message out of it. So as you grow your awareness, and again, 33 steps, 33 vertebrae, all these fucking things that just happen to align. As you climb Jacob's ladder and your awareness and your spiritual development grows, then you can see the patterns that, yes, they've told through stories, and the stories all coalesce over and over and over again. So that those who are ready to see can see those stories, So it's like, it's neither good or bad. Like we're saying, if the vast majority of people will never evolve out of their current level of development, and so they might just see it as literal truth. I personally have had too many experiences and now have attracted too much information where when I study, I'm like, oh, I can see this from an entirely different perspective that resonates way more with me than its literal history. So I'm not saying that you're wrong or that any religion is wrong, but I need fucking hard fucking evidence. And I've been researching this shit for a long time, and I've come up with none. Zero. We got fucking mummies that lived way before Jesus, and there ain't fucking no physical evidence of Jesus's mom's body, Mary Magdalene's body, any of the fucking people from the Bible. Where's the body? There should be some sort of physical evidence that I could look at, but because there isn't, I'm going to be very skeptical. And then again, I've just, especially recently with this trend, is there's so much information where, man, when I look at that and then I look at that, take that information and look at it from my own spiritual journey, I said, man, that stuff makes way more sense to me when I see the symbols and the analogies behind the stories. I'm like, oh, that makes sense to me and my own personal journey. That's all I'm saying.
Interesting stuff.
For sure.
But yeah, even like if you study the languages before the Bible, you find all the stories written all the way back to cuneiform, which is like one of the oldest. And it's almost as if the story keeps getting retold over and over again, but the languages change, and there's all kinds of misinterpretations, some that I think might have been intentional in order to use religion as a kind of control mechanism, and then create the religious industrial complex, which profits billions and billions and billions of dollars off people.
I mean, we did it to slaves,
Yep.
They only showed them portions of the Bible, you know.
Show them. I mean, geez, until the press was created, people didn't know how to read.
Yeah,
they only got their information from the fucking guy in the front of the fucking dude.
Because it was all in Latin, and most people couldn't read or even speak Latin.
Yeah, reading was the biggest thing. Is, dude, you just kept them dumb. Yeah, so they could never get any of the other information. But something I saw too, that blew my fucking mind was, I don't know if you guys know this, but just like a few years before the King James Bible was commissioned, King James released a book on Satanism.
Yeah, and he was a Freemason. King James was a Freemason.
So for me, it's like, hey, man, like, again, like, hey, who wrote the book? What was their intention? And then now, like, a question I never even thought of was, like, what's their history? So for me, it's like, and the post that we were sharing yesterday, the recurring cycles that's even talked about in the Bible is the stars and these constellations that never change. And what can we learn? Because again, whether the story is repeated in language, it's just as above, so below, is that the story never changes in the cosmos. And so,
yeah. I've heard some interesting theories about that, about how the whole story of like the three kings and the birth of Jesus was metaphorical, describing astronomical movements. Like, and the three kings is symbolic for the three stars on Orion's belt.
Right.
And like on around the Christmas time, there's like this astronomical alignment of the three kings. And I think I forget if it's the Sirius star or it's the sun, but it's like 3 days. And then depending on where you are on the equinox, there's this alignment where it's like the three kings, and then the sun rises, and it's the whole symbology of like the three kings, the birth of Jesus, and then the death and the resurrection. And on the third day, the sun rises. I forget exactly. It was a while ago that I looked into this, but I read this whole article that went really in depth about how a lot of these stories might potentially just be allegorical to describe astronomical phenomenons that they observe in the sky.
Yeah. And even like that post about what's going on now is, I do believe that, especially way back then, those chosen few, like, they had the ability, like maybe because they're eating a bunch of mushrooms and drinking mushroom wine, that they are seeing into the future. And by seeing into the future and, understanding these stories that have been told in the astronomical story, they can predict the future, saying, hey, man, like, when this happens in the sky, like, this might happen in the world, And that's what we're going through. And why would it be a coincidence that these heads of state or these people in, perceived control, why are they doing things on these very important astronomical dates, signing documents? Why would they be doing that if there wasn't something cosmic about it?
Here's a theory, and I read this in a book called DNA of the Gods. And this is someone that's really studied into the cuneiform stuff. And in this book, it's describing that, there was different gods. And again, when I'm talking about gods, like back in the day, these are just really, really powerful people with lots of money and technology that used it to rule over everyone. And it talks about how there was during different constellations, because you know how there's that whole zodiac with the different constellations and the 26,000 year processional cycle. Her theory, the author of the book, DNA of the Gods, was that there was different kings and bloodlines that would rule during different constellations. So as the constellations would go through their cycles, they would switch up the rulers. And it just kind of goes more into like how a lot of this stuff it goes back to like astrology and astronomy.
Yeah.
Man, now that you say that, because I've been diving into this thing called shedding, where famous people have been transferring their consciousness, and this one guy compared it to, if you've ever watched Underworld, when like the vampires or whatever, like the rulers of the vampires will go underground, and then another one will rule for 100 years, and then they'll go in the ground and switch. He said it was kind of the same thing with like the presidencies and like famous people, as they, will kind of disappear for a little bit, and then they'll come back up in a different civilization and rule it. Because like if you look at some little girl posted a video that all the presidents are related
on it.
Yeah, are related to one guy.
Yeah. Did you ever see that? This little girl, a junior high student, she did a report on, she discovered at least that every single president, all their bloodline can be traced back to a king in Europe. So we don't know what the fuck they're doing behind closed doors, like interbreeding, like that. I would imagine, to your point on shedding, is that they're even like they're doing inbreeding, and they're to keep that bloodline going. That while everybody's focused on the Alex Jones Bohemian Grove, like they're doing way weirder shit. That here's the distraction. Everybody pay attention to Bohemian Grove while we're doing interbreeding, we're doing shedding and all this other type of stuff.
Hybrids and clones, and because like my theory is that that's what the really, really advanced people do. Like when you have access to all the money, all the technology, all the power, and all the knowledge of the whole world that's been occulted, and you've been basically grandfathered into that because of your bloodline, and you have basically just unlimited wealth and resources, like I would just create my own version of the human species. I would genetically engineer them to my liking, and then I would rule over them. And it would get into like interplanetary trade, where, okay, like I know these other highly advanced beings that control this other planet, and they got some genetic material on their planet that I would like to splice with this other specimen on my planet. And like I think that's what the really highly that's the currency of highly advanced beings, is they're trading genetic material and technology, because like I think there's different levels in this matrix, and there's levels so high where humans that look just like you and me will own an entire planet.
Yeah, what is that movie? With Channing Tatum,
Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's basically what they're doing. Is they're trading planets, and they're putting their DNA on planets, and then they raise them, and then they fucking use them as like energy and shit like that, and they use them as a currency.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll trade you this 10 planets for your 10 planets, and then they kill everybody and turn them into like this energy form or something.
Human farming, basically.
So they can live forever.
Yeah, because let's expand on that. So once you're a Rothschild, you own all the banks. Your family fucking started banking.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have no desire to acquire more money. You have it all. Because you've bought and control all the power players. Yeah, like we can't even understand, because we haven't been grown up and indoctrinated into their thinking. Like what are they trying to get more of?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I'd get bored and be like, okay, well, I've already taken control of this planet.
How do I live forever?
How do I live forever and take control of more planets?
Dude, look at that place in Arizona, the center of the
Oh,
world.
dude.
That place is weird as shit.
Have you seen that?
No, what's that
Dude,
one?
it's a Rothschild built it. There's this fucking city, like just a ghost town, but it's got some crazy complex.
Yeah.
It was built. It's got all this
And
crazy
he's
symbolism.
got a pyramid.
Really?
And
Yeah,
they
dude.
do tours of it, and you can go in the pyramid.
Yeah.
And you have to sign a piece of paper that
like an NDA.
Yeah, like an NDA. But you also
let's do a road trip.
Fuck yeah,
I want to go.
I want to. Yeah, for sure. Because yeah, that's a great point. Is so wonder if imagine like these bloodlines, the Rothschild especially. That again, like once you get to a certain level, like they're thinking about immortality, but because technology has not gotten to a point where they can just 3D print a body and easily transplant their consciousness, they have to do the shedding.
Yeah.
They have to keep passing their consciousness on because that's how they stay immortal is
But-
through their offspring.
But what I think about is that movie Dune, right? With the little girl that's born with all of the knowledge of all of the past sisters. Like, dude, they're fucking putting it in plain sight, right? Like,
Right.
They drink some sort of juice. They transfer their fucking consciousness to a new baby, right?
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, they're born with my kid with all of the knowledge of their 1,000 past lives or whatever.
But then do they automatically remember it or do they need to have like mentors and like guides that are helping them to
I don't know.
I don't
Well,
know.
that's what I would think like that's the questions cuz that makes sense to me. But then I would while I'm still born, if that was my intention like hey, I get someone pregnant, they have Noah, and then my intention has to be is I got to start implanting this child because Kearton, that motherfucker can't think. He hasn't even developed that ability yet. But as soon as he does, like they're feeding him the juice.
Well, and maybe they wait till he's a certain age to transfer the consciousness. I don't know. You know, it doesn't go into that. It just, it's just like because they show you Andrew Jackson and then they show you Epstein, right? Like there's so many people,
Right.
Eddie Murphy, like
Right.
there's so many people where they find old pictures and they're like, that's it, Trump. And here, listen, here's another thing because there's only 1 billion different genetic codes out there. Every human on this earth right now has 8 doppelgangers. So there's 8 billion people.
Right.
So it could just be past fucking pictures of your doppelganger.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then also it goes back to like the NPC and the players. Like, yeah, if there's it in Westworld, like if there's only a certain number of like characters, then those same characters just getting regurgitated in the game. Because the physical body and all this other shit, it doesn't matter. Like the higher spiritual, the all, God or whatever, it's just incarnating through us and experiencing life through us to grow and progress spiritually.
Dude, I've met motherfucking NPCs. You know what I mean? That fucking Uber driver, remember? I had him 2 weekends in a row and he told me the exact same fucking story. 2 weekends in a row. How many times every time does it like a coin goes into a fucking thing and he just goes, hello there, and then tells the same story to everybody.
Yeah, why
right?
wouldn't that?
Who's his creator?
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, and I told you this when I was meditating, and I thought about this because we talked about how 50% of the population doesn't have that inner monologue that goes on in their head, right? Mm-hmm. Well, who are we talking to? Who is that inner monologue talking to? If it's us, or we're not talking to ourselves, because where does that thing go? You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain what I experienced, but it's not just us up here.
Well, it's your consciousness. Like that person doesn't have an inner dialogue. They're not even conscious of their consciousness to have the conversation.
Yeah.
So like that's one level, but now imagine like these people who like yogis that live in a cave or monks of old, like they were able to even communicate past that.
Yeah.
To where you could even pray to and, go within the silence and get information and commune with even higher sources of information beyond that. So once you can learn to not even have that conversation, then you get to speak into experience from an even greater depth. Like imagine when we eat psychedelics, we are communing with fucking a much more advanced entity that we're having a communication with. And then when we wake up and sober up, the communication's over. So most people, even I've talked to countless people that have done mushrooms, and dude, they ain't having the type of trip I'm having.
Right.
So it's like, dude, I don't even see shit anymore.
Dude, it happened to me for 2 years where I would just get a body high, right? And then one day I finally relaxed enough, and it was like sent me through a fucking thing. And now, dude, I could do 2 of those little capsules and have the same experience if I do fucking 20.
Right.
Just a little more intense, you know?
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, because you woke up, like have had that communion with infinite intelligence or God or something even greater than that voice that you talk to in your head. Let me ask you this though, man, something that I really want to talk about, because I've had a crazy, I don't know, man. I look into it more and more. What are you thinking about this flat earth shit, man?
I think it might be something that's been spun into a psyop.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
So I think that there's might potentially be an agenda to keep the masses from believing that there's people and cities on other planets, and there's people that live on other planets that don't have to pay taxes and work 9-to-5 jobs and deal with all this crap. And I think there might be an agenda to keep people from believing that it's possible to go off planet and actually live sovereign and free from the world controllers of this planet.
But if that were true, wouldn't you think that they wouldn't allow Elon Musk to so-called send rockets off the planet? Like, his focus is he's telling people we're moving to Mars.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, well, then why would they allow Elon Musk
to even
do that?
Promote that sort of idea that we're leaving the planet?
Okay, here's the other theory. Maybe it's just something that they put out there to keep people arguing amongst themselves, to create a division, flat earthers versus people that believe in. Because they do that already with Republican versus Democrat, with Christian versus Muslim.
Yeah.
Maybe it might just be another psyop
Distraction
to distract people and occupy people and get them to argue amongst each other.
Man, I say if XRP takes off, we take a fucking boat to Antarctica and just fucking check that shit out by ourselves, bro.
Yeah. Dude, they'll
kill you.
Can't.
Dude,
even with all the money, dude.
I can't remember who the fuck it was, but I just watched something of some motherfucker that went up there, took a boat, didn't tell anybody he was going up there, fucking went up there and
listen, dude, if it's a TikToker, I ain't believing it.
Yeah.
So until I experience it,
that's what I'm saying. Let's just see what happens.
Here's another theory.
Let's put this here and see what happens.
The Jets come and say, sorry guys,
turn
not
around.
today.
We'll just turn around.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah, fucking let's just test the limit.
For sure.
Gary, have you heard this theory? It's the theory that the Earth that we experience, like our 7 countries, we're surrounded by a big ice wall, and that part, is relatively flat or slightly curved. But then there's other continents outside of the ice wall, and the Earth is actually round but bigger than we think.
Yeah, 40 other continents. Yeah. And that one that would be dope.
That sounds
where there's like giants and fucking mammoths.
Yes. Yeah. And there's a lot of evidence to support that. Like the Admiral Byrd.
Yeah. Well, dude, have you guys seen the giant hole that one guy went into in Antarctica, where there was like, that's the one I saw recently. Some guy went up there because like he just went up there and he fucking got ran down by a mammoth. Like crazy guy, but like they say that mammoths are still up there and shit.
I don't know. I mean, I'm down with. I think the best thing for me, at least, is what you're saying: get rich and go explore it.
Yeah.
But what I always go back to, because I have seen those, and I agree with that, is that I truly believe this is a fucking hologram.
Yeah.
That this is a simulation, and so we used to believe that it was round, until we came to what they've been talking about and arguing, and the fucking evidence to me, like especially pilots. And the shit's fucking flat as fuck. Like, dude, there would be a curve. When people are coming out with the math, just saying in New York City alone, you could not fucking stand at the end of one road and see to the other. Because of the math and the curvature that they say, like, it would be, you would see a curve. And because you don't, it's flat. So my whole thing is, it is all a simulation. And it is unfolding 24 frames per second. I truly believe that beyond what we can see in this room, it's the fucking Matrix. It's all just code.
Ones and zeros.
And because we have subconscious memory, I believe with absolute certainty, as soon as I open that door, it's going to look exactly how I expect it to. And if I get in my car and I drive to Salt Lake City, I believe it's going to unfold 24 frames per second in front of me, and it's the whole trip is going to unfold. I feel what's happening is that people are waking up. People are questioning the old stories. Our spirits are evolving and progressing. And I think that like these, because their stories have, like, where'd Thor come from? Agartha or some shit?
What are you talking about?
The story of Thor?
Oh, Odin.
Asgard.
Asgard, yeah.
That's one of the fucking I've seen, one of the lands.
Yeah.
So I believe that there are dimensions. And so the realm that we live in, it is a dimension. It's a bandwidth of consciousness. And so once our consciousness gets to a certain level, then we will be able to experience another reality that we can't understand now. And like...
Dude, shadow people, the shadow realm and shit, like, dude, they know that there's 12 dimensions already that they can prove. And like, dude, there's 200,000 people that
what
have
if there's infinite dimensions?
Totally. But I'm just saying that they can prove, like, and I've experienced the old hag syndrome, which is from the shadow dimension. And there's hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people that have experienced it as well, that like all have this same fucking story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wouldn't be all of these stories just the same as like the stories that we're talking about that make up these books. And all of this, all of everything that we've experienced and we've heard and we've been taught, it all exists in a certain bandwidth of consciousness.
Yeah.
And once our consciousness evolves beyond that bandwidth, which we've experienced through psychedelics, ketamine, all of these things that literally tune us into higher dimensions, that for me, it's like, hey, man, I believe that we will explore and we will discover completely different dimensions in the future.
Sean, you told us that, or told me that you started eating raw vegetables only and that you were having a hard time deciphering between dreams and reality.
One time I did like a raw food diet. And I even stopped eating entirely for like 4 days straight and was taking all the pineal gland supplements like monatomic gold, colloidal silver, gotu kola, all the stuff to just stimulate my pineal gland to like see what would happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I started like my dreams became very, very vivid, very clear, where I could just, I remember them. Like, you know, when you wake up and like it's kind of fuzzy, like I remember them so clear. And there was like stuff that would happen in my dreams that was like, would always just like correlate to things that would happen in my waking state. And it was almost like it kind of just blurred together a little bit. Wow. And like I was seeing numbers everywhere, and it was kind of weird. Like what happened, just to like my brain and my mental clarity and my ability to remember dreams when I started cutting out like all the toxic foods, and even for a while cut out solid food entirely.
Cause dude, I'm thinking hard on going all grapes for 6 days. Like that one guy.
Where do you get those grapes, though? You want to get seeded grapes.
Totally. Yeah, I would only get seeded. Yeah, I know that. And seeded watermelon, because the rest of it's just fucking fake.
Yeah, where do we find that in Boise, though?
Oh, dude, I get seeded grapes all the time at the little stand right next to my place.
Really?
Yeah. And they have
Concord, just like he said.
Yeah.
Huh, yeah, I mean, I want to try that too, man.
Yeah.
Or just a watermelon, like fucking 7 days of watermelon.
Dude, that one guy did 60 days, bro.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
like
just grapes.
No. There's another guy that I follow on TikTok, but he lost 60 pounds and he was only eating watermelon with seeds in it for 60 days.
Wow.
And like he was talking about his meditations.
Yeah.
Like he said it was fucking crazy. He lost a bunch of weight. Same thing. His tongue, instead of being white like mine's white as fuck, right? His was fucking pink, bro.
Right. The white meat is it's from your meridians and your organs, so it's telling you. Because mine too.
Yeah.
In fact, whenever I go to acupuncture, that lady, first thing, let me see your tongue. Always, man. Like that you can tell the health of all your organs from your tongue.
Yeah.
So yeah, to your point, is that guys, once your tongue is pink, that means all your organs are cleansed. They're fucking firing. Ours are fucking holding on by a thread.
Yeah. Yeah. Save me.
But I thought you were talking, because I found another guy through that breath guy.
Yeah.
That he did like 45 or 60 days of just the grapes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. I mean, we got to do it. We got to at least try it.
For sure.
Yeah, that's something I want to try, but it's like it's really difficult to do anything else when you're doing something like that. Because even when I did my raw food diet, even when I was still eating raw food, I had to cut out any kind of sports, physical activity, because I wasn't getting enough calories and protein in my body to really like have the energy to do any kind of physical stuff.
Dude, this watermelon guy said he goes to the gym. He said he's fucking like had the most energy he's ever had. He said the first fucking like week or two was like very, very difficult. And then once he got past that point, he said it was like game on. He had so much energy. His like, yeah, but he said the first couple days was it was like coming off of meth, you know? He said it was fucking hard. Like he was shitting a lot. He said it was fucking like, you know, putting himself through some shit because you're addicted to all these things. I know I am.
For sure.
I recently saw in one guy that they're like everyone has worms or parasites in them. And whenever you get like hungry when you're on a fast, that's them like wanting food.
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
They're telling you what to fucking eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cleanse that shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what the grapes are supposed to be really good for is your lymph system. So just cleaning all that. Dude.
Whatever it is.
I mean, we're not meant to eat 3 fucking meals a day.
Yeah, I think that's kind of also too like propaganda.
100%.
To keep your
They gotta sell the food.
Yeah, they got it to sell the food and also like keep your pineal gland closed and keep your vibration low.
Right.
It's not good for profit. It's not good for commerce.
What if, because this is kind of what I've come to the conclusion, is these people aren't as smart and nefarious as we give them credit for. But what if just like in this game is that they were unconsciously out of their own greed, like, hey, we got to sell more. We have to sell more food because they're greed and profit driven. But really there was like a deeper, some people would call the devil or whatever that was working through people to clog. Like they didn't have meetings to say like, hey, how do we clog these fuckers' pineal glands? But through their actions, it just happened to happen. And then people, because of their waking up, started saying, hey, because of your eating these foods, the pineal gland is being clogged up. So stop eating the food. I've just come to the conclusion, I don't think these people are not that fucking smart.
Well, here's one thing that I saw the other day that was interesting to me. Is like whether you believe in God or not, or the devil, right? The people that are in charge, they fucking do believe in the devil and they fucking worship that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, and you can see it too in all the satanic shit that they do and, you know, drinking baby blood and shit like that, sacrifices. So, you know, fuck, man. Yeah, who knows?
I mean, when I think of, I would say that there is a devil, but I wouldn't personify it. Just the same as I believe there's a God, but I don't personify it. Because to personify it is to try to bring it down to your level of understanding where you say God is a man, like a physical man, like in the fuck, where? So I would look at it as like, yeah, there's an infinite energy that permeates, penetrates, and fills the infinite spaces of the universe. It's more powerful than we could ever imagine. Yeah. And so, I mean, yeah, I would believe that, yeah, there's good and evil, polarity, but like, I think that even to what they worship, they're worshiping idols to personify it, to make it even more real for them. Because, like, yeah, I just, that's often what I run up to against is like, hey, man, I believe in I believe in that same energy, but I have a hard time personifying something because to me, like, that makes no fucking sense. If something is all powerful, but why would they even have a body? There'd be no point.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll find out maybe one day.
I mean, I've had too many experiences where I think I already have. And so, yeah, that's where all my ideas come from. To your point, like that voice that you talk about in the body, like your thoughts aren't even yours.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they're not yours. So I've had too many of my own thoughts that make me think about these same questions. They're like, oh, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, dude, you get messages.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I do think that people can get messages from evil stuff too, you know, like, oh, God told me to fucking kill these people and stuff. That's not fucking God, you know? But,
But also, how can it be like a devil? Like, how can it not be just prior conditioning?
Man, I've seen possession.
But the possession can't even happen unless they weren't open or they've had experiences of evil themselves.
Yeah, there's lots of evil out there.
Yeah.
There will always be evil out there.
I guess
I've seen
just
true
feel
evil.
that, right, but it's hard for me to believe that like some entity just like went into their body. Like someone that's committed that evil or is possessed by evil, they've been surrounded by evil their whole life.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I've been to the most evil places in the United States.
Oh yeah, so it's just a cesspool of fucking evil.
Yeah, where there are people that do worship, you know, like, dude, the Church of Satan in St. Louis on the Del Mar Loop on Saturdays, they go out and they sing fucking hymns and they do all sorts of crazy shit.
That's wild.
Yeah, dude, I tried to go to the Church of Scientology, couldn't get in. When you go to Chicago, they have one that they do accept visitors in. So I went in and fucking walked around, checked that shit out. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
So much crazy shit out there.
For 100%, man.
Yeah, dude. And honestly, I had this dream after I saw the Church of Satan, right? Like, because I saw them singing their hymns on the Del Mar Loop. That night I had a dream that would the world be any different than it is right now? That if God didn't win, you know, whatever war, whatever happened, and what if Satan created the world instead? Would it be any different? Because there's so much fucking evil out there, you know? So it's like I woke up and instead of everybody going to church on Sunday, everybody went and worship Lucifer on Sunday.
But how can you quantify the percentage of good or evil? How do you know that there's...
I'm not saying that I did quantify that. I'm just saying that I had a dream that instead of the whole world, you know, going to church on Sunday and so in my world, right? Because I grew up in the United States where we go to fucking church on Sunday. But instead, they went and worshiped Lucifer. But the world wasn't any different than it is right now.
Interesting. That's weird. Well, I mean, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Anything else you working on or doing?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, just trading cryptos, getting ready for the next bull run.
Dude, we got to get with him and get some content.
Learning. Oh yeah, I mean, getting more into like content production. Still doing photography and vlogging and stuff like that.
Yeah, your shorts have fucking blown. You have really transformed, man.
Thanks.
Is that just like in the corner of your fucking house?
Yeah, I just set up a room to make basically just a little studio to do vlogs and things like that and little marketing videos.
Yeah, man, that looks great, man. All the lighting and colors and stuff. It's phenomenal, man.
That little like crypto light thing he's got in the background looks sick.
The little plaque or whatever looking thing. Yeah, man. All of it. Sick, man. Great job.
Thank you. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, I'm just trying to educate myself more on acquiring land because I want to start a little like breakaway civilization.
Right.
Where we can just live free from the matrix and self-sustain.
If you had total choice, where would you get that land?
Probably somewhere around the northwest area. Up here, you know, either like Utah, Idaho, maybe even around like the borders of Oregon and Washington, but more towards the east side, because like the west side of Oregon and Washington is like all Democrat. But anywhere where there's like running water, where we could have like a swimming hole, a river, and then basically just build something where people could come and feel like they're out of the matrix.
Yeah,
dude, most beautiful country is that west coast of Oregon and Washington, man. Gosh, it's beautiful. Like Cannon Beach. Oh, dude. Like Newport, you drive down, you got like Tillamook, where they have the Tillamook cheese factory. Dude, we're talking the most beautiful country in probably the United States to me is that area. It's so pretty. Have you been to that area?
I have been to the beach in Oregon. I don't know if it's the same one you talking about, but yeah, I mean, I've been around Oregon, Washington. It's beautiful. There's a lot of places up there, especially Washington, where it's like it's literally looks like the rainforest.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
like,
crazy how much amazing like plant life grows up there.
For sure.
Yeah, you're talking like up in the Twilight area. What is that, Forks or whatever? That's like a jungle pretty much. They get like 90 inches of rain every year.
Yeah, or like by Mount Rainier.
Yeah.
But is that good farming?
I mean, I would assume so with all the vegetation and the rain. Again, I'm not an expert farmer, so
Right.
I can't really say for sure. But I'm in the
probably
process of
certain
learning
foods, you know?
Yeah,
Because 90 inches of rain is a shitload.
But if you have 90 inches of rain, how much sun?
Yeah, not much.
So that's why, that's why those leaves are so big.
Yeah.
It's because they collect the little bit of sunlight that comes. So when I think about a breakaway civilization, has to have a river.
Yep.
Has to be good for farming. One thing I would really like to have is geothermal.
Yeah.
Which Idaho is.
There's a lot of that
the
up
most.
here. Yep.
So those things for sure. So certain things in a piece of land, you know.
Geothermal, though, because Warm Springs has it the most. And there's a lot of roofs up there that develop like mold and problems from the geothermal over there because there's so much like natural gas that goes on. It creates moisture.
Sure.
But
If you buy 1,000 acres like of agricultural land versus a bunch of houses crowded on a popular street, I could see where the mold would come from. But man, I mean, with geothermal, you can create your own fucking geothermal power plant.
Yeah.
But nowadays, even with like not a huge volume of running water, you can create a lot of electricity. They're creating some fucking sick ass river turbines and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's little. I mean, I've seen ones that are like this big, maybe a little bit bigger than a microwave, a little bit longer, and you could just place it in a river. I mean, you could pick it up with two hands and just walk it over and install it anywhere you want.
Yeah.
In the course I was taking, the guy there talks about how if you can find a place, you know, where part of it is sloped, and then you build, you know, basically a small dam to contain some of the snow melt and everything, and then you have it just drop down 30 feet. And then you just put the turbines where it's dropping straight down.
Dude. It's all going through a fucking pipe.
Yeah. And then you just funnel it all through pipes and just drop straight down.
Yeah.
And then now you're generating your own power.
Hell yeah, you are. Dang, that's sick.
there was some metal that I just read about, like thalene or something like that. That's like in the Idaho Falls, like Montana area. It's the largest deposit of it. And they said that it is less poisonous and it acts like uranium, and it's the next thing that China and Russia are working on right now to create energy that's like uranium. It's like thanium or something like that.
Wow.
But the biggest deposits in the world are between Idaho Falls and the Montana area, like craters of the moon and shit like that.
You were just there, weren't you?
Yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
whatever that shit is, it's supposed to be like 10 times the power energy that uranium creates, and it's not poisonous.
You know what did you guys ever see that there was a show on Amazon Prime called Outer Limit or something
Where they time traveled?
in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Because of the rock.
Yeah.
Dude. Again, it's always right in front of our face.
Yeah.
So what if, like, again, everything evolves? Like, we found uranium, which creates a lot of energy with side effects. What if there was another one like fucking thuranium or whatever?
Whatever it was called, yeah.
Fuck, dude. And again, this reality just keeps unfolding, and we discover things out of the fucking dirt.
Yeah.
That give us time travel or intergalactic travel or whatever it is, you know?
Dude.
We're just discovering bullshit and turning it into fucking
Which brings me back to Dune again, that fucking, because
the spice.
Yeah, they said that time and space doesn't move. That you take that little wizard creature would drink the spice, and then he would move
Right.
time and space. And so, yeah, I mean, Joe Rogan, I think, talks about it too. That he doesn't think we're going to be in a rocket ship and we're going to fucking fly somewhere because of all the asteroids and all the shit that's out there. It's like you're going to take some sort of a substance and then it's going to be sent like an email.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Have you seen any of Stephen Greer's documentaries?
I've
Dr.
seen
Stephen
Close
Greer's.
Encounters of the Fifth Kind.
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause I think he's got like 4 of them out now, but he goes into all this research about all the technology, like all that stuff already exists. It's just hidden from humanity.
Yeah.
And stuff from the stuff that the UFOs, the flying saucers use, like anti-gravity stuff that basically, like the way he describes it is like it like creates a bubble around the craft, and anything inside that bubble is no longer susceptible to things like gravity and G-forces. So you could just go anywhere.
Right.
It almost instantly.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe it's like a thought, telepathic.
He calls it consciousness assisted technology. So it's a kind of technology that basically synchronizes to your consciousness.
Wow.
Potentially, like the way I could see that happening is like, okay, well, if our human body is a biological technology with a pineal gland that our consciousness can incarnate and interact with, well, who's to say that you couldn't build some kind of ship or vehicle that had a pineal gland installed that you could synchronize your consciousness to, and then just control it with your thoughts?
Yeah.
Because we're doing that right now with our body, and it would run on 0-point energy, and our human body is a 0-point energy device because it runs off electrical signals to make everything happen. Well, where does that electricity come from? Have you ever had to plug your body into the wall?
Right.
No. So we're already using a device like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've lied to us and say that food creates energy.
No, our body creates it.
0 point,
And
like you're saying.
the food, well, our body burns the food, but I mean, we're already, each cell is producing electricity.
Right.
And we have like trillions and trillions of cells. So we're just like this walking
Universe.
energy generating biological piece of technology.
Yeah.
It's like what you're talking about is like God, what was that? The Blue People movie where they like
Avatar?
they like hook
their
their fucking
sure.
their thing
Tail or
up
whatever.
their thing up to the creatures, and then they can control the creature.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, they're already working on things where disabled people are moving cursors and shit with their fucking minds. So
Dude, which makes me think about South Park. Do you remember that one where
I
they
never got into South Park.
Oh, really? They created some device that would like move, but it would use your body's energy. But the way they got it was through a dildo that fucked you in the ass.
Shut up.
Yeah, so like, dude, they're in these spheres and they could like go around at like top speed of 300, but it was just like
fucking banged out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude, this fucking show.
Dude, Trey and dude, those guys are so fucking
Just
funny.
geniuses.
Yeah,
Oh my god, dude, that's fucked up. Nice, man. Well, right on, bro. Well, good to have you again, man. Always good to connect with you.
Likewise.
Boom.